Hey guys, this is Steph with Crafty Ladybug, here with the original gymnast that I did back in December. This design is completely based off of one that PG's Lumacy put out. He is a great creator, and he was actually the very first person to put out a gymnast tutorial or gymnast picture. He did not do a tutorial on it, and he gave me pointers on how to do a few things to get this one to look nice and skinny and with the smaller legs and arms. So please visit his site for other great ideas. I'm doing this because so many of you have asked me to do it. I kind of didn't really want to because there were a few other gymnasts out there, but you guys have really asked for it. So I'm going to go ahead and do the lesson on this. I am aware, as I said, as there are others out there. Tutorials by A has a great one, and Marloom's Creations is another one that does a rhythmic gymnast. And I'm really not sure if there are any others. I'm sure there probably are, but this is my rendition of a basic gymnast. The hair is not on the back of this head because back in December when I loomed her, I did not know how to do that. I didn't have that technique down yet. I hadn't created that until Ariel and King Triton and Prince Eric. So we're going to start with our gymnast. You're going to have your loom set in its offset configuration. I'm using brown today. I'm using flesh color today, and 2 colors of blue. They're not the same exact colors of blue here because, quite honestly, I used that blue up a long time ago. So let's begin. We're going to start with a single band placed on our loom, dangling over the center peg over the edge. Our arrows pointing towards the right, going from the left towards the right. And as I stated, our loom is set up in the offset configuration. You're going to take 2 brown bands and go from center to top. 2 brown bands from center down. 2 brown bands coming down the top once. 2 brown bands coming down the top again. 2 brown bands, and we're going to form a really long diagonal right here. So we're going to come to the center to form a really long diagonal. 2 brown bands again, coming from the top to the second on the bottom. 2 brown bands again. 2 brown bands to form a long diagonal. And then in the center, we're going to do 2 brown bands, 2 brown bands, 2 brown bands, and then just a few more, 2 more brown bands. We're going to cap off this peg right here with a 2-time cap band. So just take your hook and wrap it around that band twice, or wrap that band around your hook twice. Stretch that out and place it over the center column right there at the end. We need to do some securing bands for our hair. So we're going to do a single band going in a triangle fashion from peg 2, 2 to 2. Another single band going in a triangle fashion from peg 2, 2 or 3, 3 to 3. And now we're ready to start to loop our hair. I'm going to pick up my loom. Reach into this cap band, pushing it back. I'm grabbing those 2 center bands and I'm going to loop up once. I'm going to reach into that center column. I'm going to loop up twice. And I'm going to reach into that center column and I'm going to loop up a 3rd time. You want to stop looping at the second peg. Do not loop all the way up. We're doing a layer technique for the hair. Now reach back into that cap band again, and you're going to grab your top 2 bands, which are going off to the left. And then we're going to reach into that left band and we're going to wiggle that out. And instead of looping to peg number 2, I want you to take it and I want you to pull it back behind onto peg number 4. So pull out of peg number 2 and loop back behind to peg number 4. When we get doing this technique or this lesson later, it's going to be linking our hair in, much like I've done with the beach series styles, if any of you have done those styles with me. Need to do the right side, push back that cap band, come forward, actually diagonal over to the right, push back that horizontal, wiggle out the bottom 2, and we're not looping up, we're taking it off and moving it back to the 4th peg. So that is going to be what our hair looks like. Okay. And now just for video purposes today, I'm going to pop out my centerpiece because I'm working with blue and you guys won't be able to see too much of my blue. So I've just popped out my centerpiece. Somebody's going to ask what was that she had on the back of her loom. These are little teeny felt pads. Because I work on a harder surface, it makes it not as loud as if it were, which is pretty loud. So I put the little felt pads on it because the noise was getting on my nerves. So my little rant and rave is over with about my felt pads. Okay, we're going to start with the face area. And for the face, you want to push down everything that's here. You're going to take 2 bands in your skin tone color. And you're going to go from top 2 to 3. 2 bands in your skin tone color, going from center 2 to 3. 2 bands in your skin tone color, going from 2 to 3 on the bottom. 2 bands in your skin tone color, going from center 3 to center 4. And now we need to finish off the cheek area with 2 bands. Pushing that down, 2 bands to finish off the cheek area. And now for the neck, we want to use 3 bands. We're changing up here, we're going to use 3 bands for the neck. And before we go any further, I'm going to loop in my hair and then I'm going to do the horizontals for the face. So for the hair, you guys will see that we have this brown piece. That's our cat band. I want you to pull it out from that peg and just release it on top of the 3 bands we just laid for our neck. That's going to lock the back of our hair in. Now for the face, I'm going to take a single band and I'm going to double twist it and I'm going to lay it on peg number 3, 3, and 3. For the upper portion of the eye, like where the eyes would be. First I'm laying a horizontal band of single, and then I'm going to lay my eye bands. This is just a regular band with 2 beads thread on it. That is going from peg 2 to peg 2. Peg 2 to peg 2, 2 to 2. But you want to reach in and separate out those bands and pull just a portion of that. Get my hook through there again. You're going to pull just a portion of that down to the 3rd peg. And that's what's going to lock our eyes into the correct place. Now we are ready to begin to loom the rest of our creation. And I want you to take 2 bands of your lighter blue or lighter shade. 2 bands are going to go from center off to a diagonal. That's going to be our shoulder. 2 bands are coming down in the light blue. We're going to switch to the darker blue, working on these 2 bands right here. So we're going to switch to the darker blue, which is going to be 2 bands. Darker blue, again, of 2 bands. And now I'm going to switch back to my light color again. That's going to be 2 bands. I next need to do my hip area, which is going to be 2 bands in the flesh color. Next will be 3 bands, total of 3. They're stuck together, but there's 3 there. The next is going to be a single band that we're going to double twist and lay on the loom. Next will be a single band that we're going to double twist and lay on the loom. And that's going to complete our upper row, but we still need to add a little bit more for her legs and her feet. So we'll get back to that in just a couple minutes. That's an extra step. For the area right here, you're going to take 2 of your light blue bands and start it there at the neck. We're going to switch to the darker blue, your darker blue shade, and that'll be 2 bands. The darker blue again with 2 bands. And then we're going to switch again to our light blue, which is 2 bands. And switch again, or not switch, but keep with our light blue for 2 bands. And we need to do this side over here. And I know my blues aren't a huge difference in color. I did the best I could in matching them up, but I'm kind of limited in blues at the current moment. For the area right here, you're going to take 2 of your darker color and lay those right there. 2 more of your dark color and come down. 2 more of your dark blue, and we're going to come down again. Now we're going to switch back to our light blue to finish off the bottom of the body here. 2 of the light blue, and 2 of the light blue. Now we need to match up to her leg, which is going to be 2. Then we have 3 pieces. The next will be a single band, double twisted and laid on the loom. A single band, double twisted and laid on the loom. And before we go any further, I'm going to lay our horizontal bands. For our first horizontal band, you're going to take your lighter blue shade, or darker blue, either one. Let's do darker blue, dark blue, and go right here underneath the chest area. This is your shoulders. This kind of starts the chest. The next will be a dark blue again. You want to double twist that single band and lay it there. The next set of bands you want to do is a lighter, which is a single, double twisted and laid across there. Our next band right here, we want to use flesh with this. We want to use a skin tone color. So our skin tone color, double twisted and placed right there. The next piece that we need to do is right here. And this is going to be just a regular basic band, single band, that you're going to lay across in a triangle fashion. But because we don't need this piece right here, we won't be using that piece. We don't need that for support. It needs to get looped up 1 peg. So you kind of form like a weird shape right there. It's not really a triangle, it's like 2 teardrops. Okay, and our next steps are going to be to do our legs. We're going to add some feet. And I really like the way that my gymnast turned out. This one here with the 2-tone blues, kind of like for floor exercises, I guess. I know most gymnasts don't wear slippers, but I liked her with color on it. So I'm doing that this way. If you don't like the slipper color, don't do the slippers. Do it in skin tone. So for that, I'm going to take a single dark blue, a single dark blue. I'm going to twist it on my hook 4 times. So it's on my hook 4 times. Then I'm going to take my lighter blue. I'm going to double twist that on my fingers. And I'm going to transfer that over and reclaim it on my hook. And with these 2 blues, they are very similar in color, so you can probably hardly see the difference in color on camera. But there's my little shoe. And now I need to come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've already got 2 on my loom. We need to do 3 flesh color bands. So you're going to take a single flesh, wrap it around your hook, and pull through and reclaim. Another single band, pulled through, and reclaimed. Another single band, pulled through, and reclaimed. That's going to be one of our feet extensions. I'm just going to add that onto my leg over here so I can free up my hook. And now I'm going to move on to the other portion, which will be dark blue, light blue, and 3 beige or tan or flesh. 1 dark blue, wrap it around our hook 4 times. A lighter blue, double twist it on our fingers and transfer over. Another flesh tone colored, pulled through and reclaimed. A flesh tone, pulled through and reclaimed. And a flesh tone, pulled through and reclaimed. And we're going to stretch that over and use that as a cat band down here on our other foot. And now we just need to work on our arms. We have to give her some arms. And for the arms, we're going to be doing a flesh colored band. 1 flesh colored band wrapped around our hook 1, 2, 3, and 4 times. 4 times around. Another single flesh, double twisted. And you want to pull that one over, convert that on, and reclaim. We're going to switch to our darker blue. I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 dark blues. Then I'm going to need 3 dark blues. And then I'm going to need another 3 dark blues. So if you'd like to take a moment and set your space up with 4 dark blues, 3 dark blues, and 3 dark blues, 3. So we have 4, 3, and 3. So where this 4th one is, we're going to, or where the blues are, double twist, tongue tied today, pulled through and reclaim. Another blue, pulled through and reclaim. And another blue, twisted, pulled through and reclaimed. And another blue, twisted, pulled through and reclaimed. Now we get to the 3, we're going to pull 3 all the way through and reclaim. Just straighten those up so that it's in the center. And we're going to do 3 more, pulled through. 1, 2, make sure I got them all pulled through and reclaim. So here we have one of her arms done. I'm just going to take her arm and I'm going to put it on the shoulder up here, making sure that we match up our colors. I know my colors are really, really close, so you guys hopefully did a better job of choosing 2 different colors, but that's where our arm's going on peg number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, peg number 5, and then peg number 5 on the right's getting an arm, but we're doing that one in a lighter blue. So we have 2 flesh to do, and we're going to lay that out in 4, and then we're going to lay out 3, and we're going to lay out 3. So let's start her other arm. A flesh twisted around her hook 3, 4 times. A flesh double twisted on our fingers and converted over and reclaimed. A lighter blue double twisted, pulled through and reclaim. Another light blue double twisted, pulled through and reclaim, another band, double twisted, pulled through and reclaim, and another band, double twisted, pulled through and reclaimed, and 3, pulled through and reclaim, and this was 3, pulled through and reclaimed. So here we have another arm. Take that, place it on your shoulder area right there, and here we've got our little girl with her arms, her little gymnast, and we are ready to start to loop. Now her hair, people I guess call this a messy bun. I don't know what it's really called. And I'm going to do that at the very end. So we're going to still need 2 more brown bands. So just reserve 2 brown bands off to the side. And let's go ahead and start looping. I'm going to begin down here on my left side, pushing back that cat band, and I'm grabbing those 2 flesh, what looks like 2 flesh. I'm looping forward, 2 flesh, looping forward. This is 3 flesh, coming forward. Next I want to push back that cat band. There's a cat band right there. Push that back, grab your 2 flesh, push back this horizontal band, grabbing the 2 blue, push back that horizontal, grabbing the bottom 2, push back the horizontal, grabbing the bottom 2, push back the horizontal, bottom 2, and it has fallen off the loom, which isn't a big deal. It was already locked in. Now for our arm area, take your arm and pull it down slightly. That way you can reach and get to those 2 bands for the shoulder area that are going across to the center. Now we're going to start down here on the right leg, and it's going to be the same process, looping up. We've already done one side, so I'm just going to go a little faster. Horizontal band, push back. Horizontal band, push back. Horizontal band, push back. Horizontal back. Horizontal back. And now stretch out our arm so we can get to those 2 at the bottom and loop those over. And these bands are really like sticky and tight, so you might need to relieve a little bit of pressure on them every now and then, the kind of bands that I'm using. Now we need to do her area right here. For that area, you're going to just reach in here and grab those 2 blue and loop forward, 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 2 blue and loop forward. Now we've started to reach some of the congestion. It's going to be congested up here. Push back that neck area, and you want to grab your bottom 3 bands, weave those out, and loop forward. Now you guys will see this little brown piece, her piece of hair right there, coming across those pinks or those flesh colored. Grab those 2 brown bands, what looks like 2 brown bands, and just pull it back. Pull it back to where the neck piece started. It's just going to get it out of the way to relieve so we can get to these here. Now reach into that area there, grabbing your 2 flesh, and go over to the left. Reach in again, grabbing your 2 flesh, top 2 flesh, and those are going to go over to the right, and reach in, being careful not to grab the hair piece that's down there, and loop this one forward. On our nose area, push back that piece of our eye that we did, and you want to grab just the 2 flesh and loop forward. And now we can loop up our hair piece here. We're going to reach into that peg, grabbing those 2 brown bands, and come forward. Now we're ready to do the left side and the right side, which is a little tricky with our hair. So on our left side, you want to push back your flesh bands and get just those 2 flesh bands and loop forward to peg number 2. Push down because we need some room here. Push down on peg number 2. Now remember that hair piece that we moved back to peg number 4? This is where we're going to pick that up off of peg number 4 and loop it onto peg number 2. You're going to link that in onto peg number 2. Now peg number 2, push back all that mess that's there, grabbing the bottom 2 brown bands and come forward. And we're going to finish off the left side by coming over to the center. Now we need to do our right side. Our right side, we need to get to these 2 flesh bands right here. So you want to push in and find those 2 flesh bands. And I can never get a good view of this on camera because it's just awkward feeling for me. And I picked up the hair, so I'm sorry guys, but you want to get just those top 2 flesh bands. Pushing back the horizontals and get your 2 flesh bands. And link to peg number 2. Push peg number 2 down because we need to go back to peg number 4, grab our hair, and loop it up onto peg number 2. Peg number 2, we're reaching in and getting the bottom 2 brown bands and coming forward once. And then we're reaching in to peg number 1 there and coming over to the center. Now before we loop off our center, we need to do, I guess it's called the messy bun. I call it a double A pony when I do it in my hair. But we're going to take our 2 brown bands, wrap them both around your hook twice. And then you're going to stretch that out over top of those bands on the top. Now you want to grab your dangle band. We're going to push back everything that's in there. Push back everything that's in there, and you want to get to that dangle band on the bottom. And there's a lot on there. Get your dangle band on the bottom and wiggle it out. And now we're going to slip knot that off. Now we're ready to take this off the loom. Please, please, please use your hook, a skewer, the end of a something. Don't just yank this right off the loom because it's going to fall apart or a band's going to break. So use the back of your hook or your hook itself because there's so much with the hair. There's so much tension with that hair and you don't want to keep fiddling and fiddling and fiddling with her. And when you get to the neck area, there's more. When you get to the shoulder area, there's more congestion. And I use these silly gummy bands and it's really tight. So just use your hook or something to take it off because we worked really hard on her. We don't want her just to fall apart on us. And then down here, I want those to not fall off either. So here we go. We have an odd looking gymnast because some of these bands, and as I said, these bands are just, they're gummy. And you guys know the different textures of the bands do different things. So her hip area is a little fluffy actually because I did miss a band down here in the loop up, but I can hide and fix that later. For her hair, you want to make sure that you're grabbing your dangle band. Take your dangle band, this is my dangle band, and you want to stick up and puff up those 2 that we twisted on there. Kind of just get them even looking-ish. So you should have 4, like a loop of 4. And it's much easier for me just to use my hook to straighten them out because they did get a little walkers. So I've got those 4 bands that I used at the cap. And I'm just rolling them in my dangle band. And there's my messy bun at the top. So with our messy bun at the top, you want to take your dangle band and you just kind of want to twist it around that messy bun or whatever you guys call those. So here we've got our messy bun at the top. You can move it down to the back slightly if you don't like it sticking straight up. Her eyes, get those straight. You don't want her to have ears. If you don't want her ears showing, just take the bands and kind of roll them over. And on the other side, I'm just going to roll them over. And here we've got our little gymnast, and I'm going to set her up in a split position later. But there's our little gymnast to go along with our balance beam that we have. I have a balance beam on my channel. Let me grab it real quick. With the balance beam, here we go. We have a balance beam on my channel. So she can be doing a split on the balance beam. I soon will be doing uneven bars. So stay tuned for the uneven bars. But there is our gymnast with her messy little hair. And she is ready to go for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed and you'll be visiting me soon.